The following is a presentation of the Belly Up Sports Media Network.
You are listening to the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast. 4 beer with a sports talk and a whole lot more. We are part of the Belly Up Sports Network. Listen in as Brent and Dave invite you to belly up to the bar with them to talk about everything in the world of sports, just like you would do at your favorite watering hole. It's sports, beer, and shenanigans, so belly up to the bar with us, grab a beverage, and let's get into it.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 beer sports talking a whole lot more. Episode number 354, I think we're at, Dave. Tonight's show is sponsored by SeatGeek.com and the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today to save yourself $20 on your first purchase. Great stocking stuffer for the holiday season. Remember, we are part of the Belly Up Media Network. Go to bellyupsports.com for all the great shows and articles over there at bellyupsports.com. I was on the Corner Booth podcast tonight. Make sure you guys go check that out later on. Hard-hitting journalism there at the Corner Booth podcast tonight.
I'm sure it is.
Hard-hitting journalism. Thank you very much. Everybody listens to our show and subscribe to our YouTube channel and everything else. Make sure you, if you're watching on YouTube tonight, like, subscribe, and all that stuff. Dave, it's you know what? People piss and moan about the snow falling down and everything else and the holiday season. But you know what? For about 4 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks a year, I kind of like it. I'm a Christmas dork from way back. I always have been. It's one of those things. We're not decorating this house at this time this year because we're moving over 2 weeks today, actually. But I actually like when the snow falls down and the street lights are on. I quite like Christmas a lot. I actually, you know what? I love Christmas a lot.
I like Christmas as well. Are you playing the music now on the daily, on the reg?
Oh, yeah.
Or what?
Oh,
yeah. Okay, well, good for you, because we haven't really. It's come on occasionally, but it's definitely not on the.
It's not on full rotation, but when one comes on, I'm like, yeah, I'll turn it up a little bit. Yeah.
No, that's good for you. And I don't mind watching snow. Like you said, it's kind of pretty to see the snow falling in the traffic lights, and yeah, I'm okay with it. I don't, because it's not really bothersome now. And then like once Christmas is done, then the snow can fuck off too, because I don't need it on the reg. It's like the Christmas music. I'm okay. I'll put up with it for the season, and I'll even enjoy it a little bit. But once that's done, it really does kind of make my life a little bit shittier having snow on the ground.
From today's the 7th of December. If it was all gone by about 2:00 in the afternoon, the 26th, I'd be good.
Oh, completely fine.
Hey, you wake up Boxing Day, you do the thing, and then you know what? Get the fuck out of my house. Christmas is over.
Yeah, like you've overstayed your welcome. Get up off the couch. He's like,
she's time to go.
Yeah. Is that your buddy on the couch from last night? Like, fuck. Tell him, wake him up. Tell him it's time to go, man.
No, the big news here in Canada this week, and it was a well-deserved big news, and something that didn't get nearly enough press throughout her career. And I'm guilty of it. You're guilty of being a soccer guy. We've talked about it a little bit in the past. We like last year when we the Men's World Cup was kicking around, and Canada made the World Cup and had a draw in their initial game. And did they win? Alphonso Davies, did they win their first game?
No, it was
draw.
Tie, loss, wasn't it? No, I think it was they lost. They went 3-0. They lost all 3 games.
Anyway, it doesn't much matter. But the one thing that kind of, and I'm guilty of it 100%, was the great career of Christine Sinclair. I have a niece who's heavily into the soccer world out in Vancouver Island, and you looked at that women's soccer game. I don't know if you watched it, what kind of eyeballs you got on that, but the lead up to that game, and you got thinking like, man, oh man, that woman is an absolute role model. We'll get into some other sports role models of the past, but you look back on that and the celebration of sport that was, and the celebration of a human being that was on Tuesday night, I think it was pretty awesome. Like and how it didn't get as much press throughout her career, I get it, but I don't get it. On the other hand, you're a soccer guy from way back in the 80s there, Dave. What's your thoughts on the one of the greatest athletes in Canadian history? And I'm not even saying that just because we're talking about it. She's right up there, man. 190 all-time international goals, most ever in soccer history, international soccer history. Not Dave in the playground over at Winston Churchill or at Emmanuel Christian, but Christine Sinclair. She is 100% a Canadian icon.
A Canadian icon. She's a Canadian hero. I give her so much credit, and the reason being because she's a woman playing soccer, right? And not even a woman playing soccer. It's a woman. Like how many women on Canada's hockey roster can we name, right? Well, like when someone says the name, oh yeah, you can remember that, but not Christine Sinclair anymore. She stood the test of time. Canadian women's international team has been on the national stage. They've been licking
Olympic gold, world cups, on it goes, man. Like it's
medals, bronze medals. They got jobbed out. I don't know. I forget if it was the World Cup or the Olympics.
The Olympics in 14. Actually, I got a funny story about that one, but go ahead.
Oh, they got right robbed. The fix was in. The NBC wanted the Americans in the finals, not the Canadians on that one. But so every 2 years, right? They'd be in a World Cup or they'd be in an Olympics, and you would hear about Christine Sinclair, and she carried herself with class and kicked ass on the pitch. Like you said, she scored more goals than any man or woman in international play in history. That's a hell of a fucking accomplishment. And to carry yourself and be a role model and lead from the front, I credit her with the resurgence of soccer for both men and women across Canada. Like the eyeballs and interest she brought to the sports, to the sport of soccer here in Canada, really gave the men's team and program a kick in the ass in development. And I don't think the men would be as good as they are right now without Christine Sinclair's yeoman service over the last 20 years.
You know, the thing I like about Christine Sinclair and what she did, and I when I go watch my niece play soccer, and I'm not saying that McKinley's a Christine Sinclair level of soccer player, because like that's elite, like that's over Gretzky kind of stuff, right?
Well, the best ever, right?
Ever. So, but when I see my niece and her soccer team, whatever team she might be playing for, the BC Island Surf or other squad she plays for, and you see the emotion that those girls have for their teammates. It's the same kind of emotion that I see Christine Sinclair had for her teammates at the national team level, because Sinclair was such a pioneer for women's soccer, because it's going back 22 years now. And so she was a pioneer to grow the game, and she knew her role early, being a young person when she got into it. And she goes, I guess this is me now. I'm part of this. Like I'm one of the best on this team hasn't been very good, and now here's me. And I see when I see McKinley's team play, I see a lot of positive team building that I don't see. And I don't, you might see this a little bit with Jasper's baseball teams a little bit, but I see, like when I see female sports, I saw McKinley's teams playing, I see there's cheering for their teammates, the same Christine Sinclair was doing right up to her very last game, how she was urging her teammates on, urging for the progression, urging to get better. And with men's sports, I don't see that same thing within the team. I see a lot of men's sports. They're so in it for themselves, and they could care less about the team. And if I'm wrong, let me know, obviously. But women's sports, they know they're all pioneers for the next generation. So a lot more than the male sports are, because they're looking out for themselves. Am I off of base on that a little bit?
Yeah, I don't know what you're watching baseball at a lot more at a more elite level than I. But I will say this on Jasper's team, they're pretty much in it for each other. They're good teammates, and they cheer each other on. And I don't find maybe it's because it's his age and he's a little too young. Because McKinley's 16, 17 now, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So
she was born one of those years before this one. Yeah.
Okay, so I don't know. I'm not ready to impugn it. I'm not ready to impugn the whole generation of male sports. But like we've beat it to death about how now has become focusing on one sport, and if you don't got the dough, then you're not going to play on a competitive team, and then you're just going to give up. So that's changed so dramatically from when we were kids. I will say this about Sinclair though, like she is the consummate teammate, and she's led from the front, and she hasn't asked anything from her teammates that she hasn't done and sacrificed herself, whether it be the training before the games or on the field performances. And that's, she's just a role model in every way.
What I like the most about her is that she made it very clear at a young age. You know, you don't have to pretend to go. If you want to go out and win a game and score a goal and swear a little bit, you can go out and do it. And you don't have to be a certain type of girl to succeed in life. And if this is what you love doing, and you just see it, it was such a, and how she played for her country a lot and her teammates, it was such a great thing. And I talked about it the other day, I can't remember who I was talking to, but like you look at back when I was a kid, back in the 80s, you had Gretzky, then you had Lemieux, and there were definitely two different factions, or even the Islanders guys. Like you had Mike Bossy, you had those guys. So there was three players. Like obviously Gretzky, looking back, is obviously the greatest one. But you had a definite split. If you were an Oilers fan, or you were a Gretzky fan, or you were a Lemieux guy, or if you're not an Islanders guy, you were a Bossy guy. There is no doubt at all who the king daddy topper is in the world of Canadian women's soccer. Or Canadian soccer, it's Christine Sinclair. Yes, you might throw who's the guy, the Canadian kid,
Bob Leonarduzzi?
Not Leonarduzzi, but the kid now.
Alphonso
Davies, right? You throw Davies in there now, but if you go to every little girl, every Canadian female soccer player, there is no doubt who number one in their mind is. You're not thinking about anybody else. Like I said, we had back today, there was Gretzky and Lemieux. Now it's Christine Sinclair, and that's it. And when she goes and signs autographs on the sideline, even that night when at BC Place, which they renamed Christine Sinclair Place that night because she grew up in Burnaby, not too far from there. She was still with the little girls, like, "Okay, let's go, guys, time to go. Like, let's go have some fun. Let's go do this." There's no doubt in anyone's mind who the King Daddy topper is in Canadian soccer. It's Christine Sinclair. It ain't close. It's not close.
You mean Queen Daddy?
Queen Daddy topper, sorry.
Or Queen Mama topper.
Queen Mama topper, yeah.
But I hear that comparison, but it doesn't really jive with me because there's 10,000 more hockey players than there are women's soccer players. And also we're cheering for the teams as well. So even when Gretzky and Lemieux were playing, you would, I don't know how many friends that were Flames fans thought Gretzky was a whiner. That's like whiner.
Well, I did. I was one of them.
Well, and so you're not appreciating it until come Canada Cup where they're all wearing the same jersey.
Yeah.
Whereas Sinclair, that's the only time she played professional soccer. She does play professional soccer in the States, but I couldn't tell you. I think she plays for Portland, but I don't know that.
Yeah,
but I think every time we do see her and she becomes on the national stage and she gets on the news feed, she's always wearing a Canada jersey, and that's why we can always all get behind her because she's not playing for a rival.
No, you look at like those who sign autographs and sidelines the other night, and or even they're showing montage. Everybody loves a montage, right? And the looks of little girls that were like, "That's Christine Sinclair in front of me." Like you could see it, right? It was really neat to see. Dave, you like we talk about Jasper a lot of time. He gets a lot of pressure, free press for old Jasper. Maybe we could talk to his agent, get a cut in this. But like how important and how different is it now? Because you were an aspiring athlete when you were a younger kid and everything else and playing soccer. How different is now for you for as a dad for a role model situation compared to what it was, what you guys you looked up to when you were an aspiring athlete compared to what Jasper has now?
Well, as far as my kid goes, he doesn't really like watching sports, right? He likes watching the highlights on there. He's a highlight kid. Like all his favorite players and this guy and that guy. He has favorite players. He doesn't have a favorite team. He'd prefer the Blue Jays to win. But after that, it's like he knows stats. He knows what this guy did and what this guy did. But he doesn't have a single person that he holds up on a pedestal. And I think that's just become the way of professional sports right now, that every player wants to be their own brand and every player wants to do that. Yeah. And it's not about team and fan base anymore. And that's amongst the little kids too. And unless you're living in the city of the professional team, I'm just speaking for my kid, but as far as my kid and his buddies go, there's some diehard Blue Jay fans rolling around, but otherwise every kid has their favorite player. And I think that's the biggest difference I noticed from when I was his age to how these kids are rolling now with their adoration of professional athletes.
And like, I'm glad you brought that up. It's funny because our dads are working class guys and they watch sports and everything else, but they knew who this guy was and that guy was, but they were too busy working and trying to put a roof over our heads and put food on the table to worry about this guy and that guy. They weren't doing fucking podcasts in the 1970s by any means, obviously. But it's funny that you bring that up, is that one thing I've always wondered is, are you kind of glad a little bit, because knowing what you know now, because we lived through the days before cell phones and pro athletes, and we know now that some of those guys weren't the most. I don't want to say they weren't the most upstanding citizens, but they didn't mind getting down, right? Like, and Charles Barkley said it best back, I think it was like in the mid '90s. Says, "I'm not a role model." Like, I'm not. I'm an athlete. I'm not a role model. And looking back now, I kind of understand what he was saying, like, because they were doing some pretty unsavory things between drinking and womanizing and a lot of gambling and everything else. Do you kind of look back now and because now everything's more accessible, right? And so when something goes wrong in an athlete's world, it gets shed to light pretty quick compared to when we were in the back in the 80s. We knew those guys had a good time, but we weren't privy to what kind of a good time they were having. David, as a father, are you kind of glad that maybe Jasper doesn't emulate such and such a guy, because because you and I know about the times that these guys can have?
Yeah, but then, for things like that, ignorance is bliss. Like we're living in the instant information world. If some guy fucks up tonight, we're going to know about it tomorrow morning. It's going to be on the Twitter feed. Same with any kind of highlight that might happen on tonight's football game. We're going to know before we go to bed. We're going to know. When I was 16, I think TSN, the Canadian Sports Network, didn't even come around till I was probably about 16 years old.
Fuck, that might be pushing it. It's close, but yeah, you're around there.
So what sports highlights do you watch? You watch the local news and watch 5 minutes of the sports, which covered. They would show one highlight and then just put all the scores on, whether it be baseball or hockey. Yeah. And even in Canada, like, you got no NFL highlights, you got the CFL highlights. So and as far as, you had to follow a team, because if you're a fan of a player, I don't know if you would be able to watch them more than 15 times a year, and you wouldn't know how they were doing until that Tuesday paper came around and you can actually look up their stats. So it's just such a different age where it's become a possibility to even follow players as opposed to the team. And so I think that's why sports in general, they're trying to figure it out as to how do we market. Like, we got to market the players because that's what they're here for. But then what happens when we lose said player? Now, like, Trey Turner, I'll just bring him up, right? Because he's on his third team in 5 years, and he's great and he's a winner. But so are you a Dodger fan? Are you a Ranger fan? Or a National fan? Or are you a Philly fan? What the fuck? Like, if you're a fan of the player, you're a fan of the player.
Well, and that's the thing, like that we think we've talked about in the past where free agency, put a lot of money, and when they started disclosing what players were each making, it grew what salaries every player was making because they realized that the owners were making all the fucking money, and you laugh and you look back and go, yeah, I was a fan of a player and they were there forever, and the players wouldn't even think about going to play and signing a free agent for a hated team. And it's the golden age of sports is one that's long gone. It ain't coming back. Is sports better now? Like the athletes are better now. The skill levels now we talked about before. The skill level now is better, but the sports aren't better. It's just not. And anybody wants to argue with me, you can fucking come on our show. I'll argue about blue in the face about that. And it's just different. And you wonder why the powers that be don't see that, and you just go like, will it ever get back to that scenario where the athletes or the owners might take over and go, you know what, the game's not as good because the buildings are full, so they probably won't.
No, and you can't. You can't
replicate the past.
Yeah, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. Like, and when the owners understand, like, what are they supposed to understand? Like, so. For back in the golden age of sports, the owners were making money hand over fist and fucking over the players. And then you even had the union guy, Alan Eagleson in the NHL, fucking over the players. Like the players were getting fucked over all the time. So maybe sometimes like it's okay that the players are being a little bit greedy now to it's not even greedy. It's like wanting their fair share. Like, how is that being greedy?
Without one, you don't have the other. Without the other, you don't have one.
Right? And
like it's shitty to say without this, you don't have that.
Yeah, it's never going to change. This is the way we are, and that's the thing now too. Like by being a team owner, you obviously want to monetize. You want the game to grow. You want the revenue-based streams to keep flowing in, and you can't do it with players, with people cheering for your team. You need the players. You need the players to be marketable because that's how today's fan views the game, right? They're the kids that aren't in the towns like us here where we are. They have their players and they watch their highlights and they're fans of the players. They're a fan of the game, but they're not a fan of any team anymore. They just want to see the highlights and the different.
That's
players.
A good segue, Dave, into what I wanted to talk to you about a little bit. And like we've been touting for a couple of years now what Ohtanis going to make, and honestly, for a couple of years now, we've been saying this guy's going to make. I said upwards of $1 billion, and he got hurt, and it's like now there's reports that he's going to get 600 billion or 600 million. Sorry, not 600 billion, 600 million from somebody. It's probably the Dodgers or the Jays. It looks like he's going to, and it's at a point now like. Would you just sign a fucking contract already? Because not like to me, no, hear me out before you fucking say no. And you get all pissy pants, Dave, towards Brent. But to me right now, it's at a point you're just a fucking DH. And I ain't paying you $500 million to be a DH. I understand. I'm not paying you $500 million to be a DH this season because you know what? A DH rarely ever wins a championship, but that $500 million that I spend on you is going to put $1 billion in my bank account because the tickets I'm going to sell, the marketing, and on and on and on. And it's funny. It's funny you say that about the not being a fan of the team. Right now, Shohei Ohtani is the biggest name in baseball, but is his on the field value worth $500 million today?
That's
on the field value.
No, I said like you're paying him for this production, like just war.
You're a DH now.
Yeah, but no, like you can't have a $50 million DH. It's impossible. No, unless he's gonna hit every fucking home, unless he hits 80 home runs.
Unless he hits 85 home runs and has 300 RBIs.
But as an investment property, yes, because there's going to be asses in their seats. There's going to be people. Toronto is going to become a huge. Well, I think Toronto already is a pretty decent road draw because there's Canadians in every major league city,
they do very well in Seattle. They do very well in Minnesota. They do very well in Detroit. They do very well in New York. They do very well, obviously, in Toronto. They do pretty well in Pittsburgh because it's all border cities, right?
Yeah.
Cleveland.
Yeah. And then, no matter where they go, there's a good portion of Canadians in every single city in the United States. So that's going to be a road draw, which doesn't really help the owner. And then also jersey sales, like we've said before, for every Shohei Ohtani Blue Jay, let's pretend he goes to the Blue Jays, that goes into the big pile. That doesn't go into the Blue Jay pile. So I why would Colorado or Pittsburgh give a shit where Ohtani signs? They're just happy he's going to a new team because there's going to be another 2 million new jerseys, and then people can throw those Angel ones away or put them in the closet for the next couple of years. But as an owner, I totally think it'd be an investment. Like 10 years down the road. So what is he? 28,
29 now. Yeah.
Yeah, there ain't no 39-year-old that's worth $50 million, $60 million a year. And that's going to be impossible.
On the field, like right now, and I said it this morning, there's no way this year I'm paying him $50 million to be a DH. Not a chance.
Yeah,
I don't know. He has less baseball gloves right now than Edgar Martinez did back in the fucking 90s with the fucking Mariners. I wouldn't give that guy. And the way he's demanding this and demanding that and trying to keep the Dodgers' mouth shut about doing this and his camp saying this. And like I said earlier on, we've been talking about this for 2 years now. 2 years about how much he's going to get and where he's going to go. And he's just driving the price up and playing the owners against themselves. I wouldn't give that guy $10 right now to go play for the Leopard fucking Bulls. Fuck off. He's on my fuck off list for Monday night. Honestly, you know what? You can fuck off. You're a DH, man. You get 4 at bats tonight. What are you doing? I wouldn't pay him that.
I think
he's not going 2 for 4 every night. He's not.
He's really good, right? He's better than Judge. He's a better hitter than Judge, right?
Equal.
Okay, and then Judge signed for what?
Judge plays outfield though.
I
Judge
get it,
got 365, 370 over 9 years. Yeah.
Yeah, I think Ohtani can play left field just as good as anybody.
But he doesn't.
But he doesn't because he pitches, and that would be the thing I would be most worried about because if he is able to come back and at elite form, he Cy Young, if you squint, yeah, sure, he might get some votes, but he's not a realistic contender. But how do you sign this guy without knowing for sure if he's coming fully back from this Tommy John? And this is his second Tommy John as well, isn't it? So
he ain't Nate the Great Eovaldi, who has 3 or 4 of them, can still keep going and winning Cy Youngs and everything else, right?
Yeah. So you don't know. It is probable, and obviously they're going to be sharing all his medical records because if you're going to ask someone to fork over half a bill to represent your team for the next 10 years, I think you should be privy to medical records and see how things are trending.
Is the off the field headache worth the on the field return?
Oh, I don't think there's any off the field headache.
Oh, there is.
No, Ohtani does. He gives I did a little read on that, and the only days he does give interviews on the days he pitches, and then he's just unavailable. And that's the thing. He don't give a fuck. He sticks to himself, keeps his nose clean, and lets his interpreter do all the talking and just rakes and pitch as well. You can't say he hasn't produced for the Angels in the last 5 years. You can't say that at all. He did win MVP again, didn't he? Or no, because he got hurt. Who won the AL MVP this year? I think it was him.
I should know this, and I don't right now. No, it wasn't.
But okay, but
that doesn't matter.
But nonetheless, how
do they given it out yet? Did they?
Honestly, no. Fuck, they had to.
I don't know.
Fucking Christmas time.
No one's fucking listening anyways.
Well, and I wouldn't put it by baseball to hold on to it until the new year, but what do you do?
I was a big Ohtanis guy until this week when it was reported that his camp gave the Dodgers shit for spewing some news that they met and they talked and everything else. I'm like, dude, who cares? It's not a surprise you're fucking a free agent. Like, it's not. Like, who the fuck are you? Like, they're the fucking Dodgers, man. They said, yeah, he came to Dodger Stadium. We had a conversation. It was good. And it was Dave Roberts, the manager, who's won Manager of the Year and won a World Series. Yeah, it was a quasi World Series. But I was like, you actually haven't won anything. Anything. And you're leaving all these teams fucking hanging right now when you've known for it. There's no way that fucker hasn't known where he's been going for at least a year now. It's not a 2-week decision. It's not a 2-week decision, Dave.
I didn't hear this fucking shit coming out your mouth when it was Aaron Judge last year.
No, I was down on Judge. I was.
Yeah, but you weren't saying like I wouldn't sign him for $10 and who the fuck does he think he is? Like he's earned the right to go through this process. And if you're going to make a decision for $500 million of where you're going to hang your hat for the next 10 years, take a fucking year. What do I fucking care? Why do you care? I don't know why.
It holds other teams back from doing spending that they might want to be able to do.
Like who? The Pirates? The Indians?
There's 27 teams who aren't in the realm of signing him, but there's also 27 teams who aren't World Series contenders.
Well, exactly. Like, so what's the big fucking deal? And if someone's like, oh, but other clients, well, like, oh, I wish they'd make up their mind. So like, because there's agents lining up to make a pitch for their client. Well, if you want to get paid by the Dodgers or the Yankees, you just fucking hold tight. Just hold tight. He's the biggest fish in this pond, and until we know what boat he lands in, we're not going to make our decisions.
As a DH only, how much are you giving him? You, Dave Van Robes, you're fucking. You are the fucking GM owner, fucking king daddy topper of the New York Mets. You have Cohn's money. How much are you giving? If Shohei Ohtanis says I'm signing here, stroke me a check. How much are you giving him?
$20 a game more than Aaron Judge is making. He's better than Aaron Judge. He's he's more marketable than Aaron Judge.
He's more marketable than Judge because Judge is marketable in New York.
Yeah.
Judge pissed me off because Judge couldn't go anywhere else to make the same amount of money. And I admitted that like tonight, a year ago, 100%. That Judge was kind of outbidding himself a little bit because Judge's biggest marketability was in New York. And I said it right here in the 1420 podcast that Judge was making a big mistake by leaving New York because that was his biggest place to make money. He wasn't making the same money anywhere else. Not a chance. Not a chance. Off the field stuff.
Yeah. Right? And then so Ohtanis, he's the most marketable player and he's the most exciting player. He's you hear that phrase generational player all the time, but he is truly generational. He's doing something that no one's done since Babe Ruth in his Boston Red Sox days. And that was before Ruth was actually hitting home runs at an alarming rate. He was a better pitcher than a power hitter.
People have we talked about this a year and a half ago now. Fuck, we're getting old, Dave. We've been doing this a long time. People have this preconceived notion that Babe Ruth was hitting home runs the day he died wearing number 3 for the Yankees. He didn't pitch for the Yankees. Couple times here and there, and that was it. Like, it wasn't really a thing. So yeah, funny.
Yeah,
it's just funny.
Yeah, but he is like he's doing something unique, and it's great, and it's awesome. And any franchise, I think, would be lucky to have him, but
not at $50 million for a DH.
Not for a DH for a year, and I understand that's something I would have to guess. There is a way to put some kind of language in the contract saying, okay, you get this for a year, but if we don't see 25 starts in year 2, then we're
going to cut back on this a little bit.
Yeah, then we have to do a little bit of a haircut here, unless you're hitting 410, right?
And 85 home runs and 307 RBIs.
Yeah, exactly. right? Unless you're doing something that has never been done at the plate just by that, then who knows? Sky's the limit. Then we're getting a deal here.
The only time I can think of a DH, and I'm sure I'm going to get fucking added or whatever on this one, but the only time I can ever think in my long time history watching professional baseball, the only time I can remember a DH being an MVP type of caliber year was Paul Molitor in '93 when the Jays signed him instead of bringing back Dave Winfield for their second run. I think Molitor got 3.5 a year. Think how much that different that is. Molitor got 3.5 a year, and he won a World Series. 3.5 and they actually won to a team that was winning. We're talking Ohtanis getting fucking 50 to be a DH with no chance of winning in Toronto.
That's not true. Far better chance of winning in Toronto. Like, they got a puncher's chance. You know, and like, especially if he can pitch, right? Like with Tommy John, you're gone for a year and a half.
He's not pitching next year yet.
Well, what if he comes back in the second half and is able to make some starts? And if Vladdy remembers how to play baseball, and then they find a pitcher or two here and there, because like we said, you know, but they get those 10 wins from Manoah last year, and then it's the Jays that are up there in first place as opposed to the Orioles.
Did you happen to see that the Jays, they were in the Soto sweepstakes, and Soto went to the Yankees and blah 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 1 year, who knows, whatever. I like the deal that the Yankees are a better team today than they were yesterday this time, but they're not a World Series contender still. But when the Jays were on the Soto sweepstakes, he's a hell of a player. But they offer Manoah. All right. Yeah, thanks, man. The guy who pitched 4 games last year and fat, and you don't even want. Thanks. Like, how is that a selling point? Okay, we'll give a guy who's like his stat lines are Hall of Fame bound already. We'll give you him, or we'll take him, and we'll give you a guy who pitched 4 games last year, was terrible, walked away from the team, and really we don't know how he's going to be. Do you want the deal?
You can You can fix him. I know you can fix him.
Can you imagine getting that phone call?
That's hilarious. Eh?
Like that should have been one of the every once in a while we do that role play thing, and I should have done that with you. So GM of the Padres,
or the GM of the Padres,
fucking Manoah.
The Padres phoning the Jays. Yeah, I got your offer sheet here. Oh yeah, awesome. Are we ready to make a deal? Yeah, I think there's a typo. Oh really? It says Alex Manoah. Oh yeah, you can have him. Like we're going to be sad to see him go, but
for Juan Soto.
Apparently, I did hear too that I'm sure most people do know this. The owner of the Padres, who's spending all the money, he died not too long ago.
About 3 weeks ago, yeah.
Yeah, so the free spending Padres are gonna, because I don't know. Obviously, usually when things like this happen, the people in the will, you can't divide up a baseball team. You can divide up
the assets.
Yeah, you can divvy up a big fat stack of cash a lot quicker than you can.
A lot
take
of
checks out of
getting
them.
doled out tonight in San Diego. No getting around that.
Yeah, that.
Do you want Alec Manoah? No. Like what's he gonna do for us? I just found that funny that
that's hilarious.
Included in the deal is ex Blue Jay ace, ex All-Star, ex Alec Manoah.
Former Cy Young vote getter.
For projected Hall of Famer, Juan Soto. No,
that's
we're
hilarious.
Good. It's fucking crazy.
So it's Soto, though. Go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry.
Well, Soto, he has 1 more year left on a contract.
1 year. Yeah, 1 year.
And so now your boys are going to have to break the bank for him.
They won't.
So this is just a 1 year thing, and then they'll let him
done. Trying to get it done. That's all it is.
Okay. Is that something you want? Because he's quite young, 25.
He's 25. Great player. I like the deal. They're a better team than they were yesterday. Are they a World Series contender? No, because they still can't pitch. Right? They still don't have enough pitching. right? And pitching wins championships. Pitching gets you to World Series. Like you still, everybody still hits under 500. Right.
No, you're right.
And what's funny about that is that we talked with someone today about that. At the end of the day, everybody still hits under 500. As dumb as that sounds, it's true. Pitching still wins. Right. It's when you have like guys hitting under 300 now, right? And that's what it is. And so most guys don't get hits. And at the end of the day, pitching wins. And the Yankees just don't have the pitching to do it. They don't. Yeah. Here's my thought. Maybe I'm a doomsdayer, but that's just my thoughts. That's just.
And I saw Aaron's Orioles signed Uber reliever Brett Kimbrell or
Craig Kimbrell with his dangly arm and his man bun. Yeah, he's ready to go. 14th team. His 14th team in 3 years. It's something to behold. It's Jesus Christ.
Well, he probably had to move out of Philly after all the safety
he's
blew
a
and
fucking nozzle. Just a fucking nozzle. From his time in Boston to the Dodgers and everything else, he's an idiot.
Well, now he's going to be plying his craft in Camden Yard, and then he must be bargain basement cheap because that's skinflint.
Because they ain't paying money for anybody.
No, fuck no.
I'm surprised they didn't call Aaron to fucking go pitch for him.
I've never
hot dogs, like the post game meal, hot dogs, not crab cakes. You're in. Like, fuck me. Like,
yeah,
we'll talk about it later on, but like you wonder, like we've talked about a little bit before, is that how these owners get away with it? Like just cry wolf and cry this and cry that, and then they all find a way. They all,
it should almost be like you can't inherit a team. Like it's like no, your dad's died or whatever, your mom's died. Team's up for sale. You can't.
And if you sell your team, if you're moving, you have to sell a team.
Yes, you get all the money, but it's not your team anymore. Yeah,
not your team anymore.
Yeah.
If you couldn't make it in your city, fuck off. Fuck off.
Yeah.
If you and it doesn't matter what sport, Dave. That's a good point. If you can't make it as an owner of a professional sports team in today's day and age, fuck off.
Yeah, like Mark Davis with the
you think of the money they fucking got that they get for just having a team.
You bet.
If you can't make it in whatever city, fuck off. Sell it. Go ahead. Sell it.
Yeah. This ain't your team. This is your daddy's team, and he's and rest in peace. He's gone. You're selling.
It's absolutely insane.
It has to happen. Well, that's what what's his nuts did for the Ottawa Senators. And that they got $1 billion for that fucking franchise.
$1 billion
for the Senators. So when your dad dies or when your parents die, whoever owns it, it's up for sale in
Who's
2 months.
The greatest Ottawa Senator of all time?
Is it Alfredson?
I think it has to be. I don't know. No, didn't Hasek play there for a cup of coffee? Yes, he did.
Detroit, was there Detroit?
After Buffalo.
So it went Buffalo, Ottawa, then Detroit?
I believe so.
Huh. I don't know, but he didn't leave a mark there. He didn't make a mark in Ottawa. I'm not calling you wrong, but I
think
don't
he was
remember
a senator.
that. I'm gonna look it up. It just so happens. Oh, because I wanted to see. So just as a side, Ovechkin in 22 games this year has 5 goals.
Oh, yeah, things aren't going so well for Ovi.
2 of them are
empty.
actually
pretty good.
And 2 of them are empty netters.
Yeah, man.
And he's making 9.5 this year.
And the team's actually pretty
next
good.
Year
they're
and the next.
Spot.
Fuck. Like
he I thought the Gretzky thing was a lock, but now I'm not so sure. He's still 91 out, I think, or 81 out, I think, whatever it is.
You are wrong. He broke into the league with the Blackhawks.
Yeah.
Then the Sabres. Oh, you're right. No, I lied. There it is. He was Detroit 03-04, 43 games with the Senators. That was just a 1-year thing. Then he finished his career in the NHL back with the Red Wings. Huh. You're right.
Right there it is. Old Tenders never. The greatest senator ever probably is Danny Elferson, because he was a senator long term.
Yeah, and he was a captain for a long time. Patrick Lalime.
A long-term senator was
Chris Neal.
Wade Redden. Now, Wade Redden's claim to fame, he thinks, was playing the NHL for the Senators for a long time. But Wade Redden's actual claim to fame was in 1992. He scored his first AJHL goal against yours truly. That's Wade Redden's actual claim to fame. He may not remember that, but I do. So there it is.
Isn't he married to Carrie Underwood?
No, that's not Neil. That's a different guy.
Oh, okay. Well, I thought that was Wade Redden.
No. The guy who moved on to Nashville.
Nashville.
Well. Not Wade Redden.
Oh, okay, yeah. But she married a hockey player. I saw a picture of her the other day too. She has to stop getting plastic surgery.
She was used to be so hot, and now she's not so much. Like,
yeah,
a little bit of
when
Fisher.
Do that
Fisher.
Yeah.
Fisher.
Yeah.
Well, I can't remember his first name, but Fisher. Yeah.
Brian. Yeah.
Ryan, Brian, Craig, Jim, fucking
Underwood's husband.
Slippy, Slappy, Mr. Underwood.
Mr.
Fisher.
Underwood. Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. This segment was brought to you by SeatGeek.com, the SeatGeek app. Use promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com today and save $20 on your first purchase over there at SeatGeek.
Are you thinking of going to a game or a concert in the coming days ahead, or do you already have tickets and want to upgrade where you're sitting? It's simple. Go to SeatGeek.com or the SeatGeek app. They have tickets for all sports going on right now, as well as concert tickets to shows throughout North America. And to make things even better, use promo code 1420pod, that's 1420pod, and receive $20 off your first purchase. Once again, that's promo code 1420pod at SeatGeek.com or the SeatGeek app.
The 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, and a whole lot more. Dave, we haven't talked a lot of NHL over the last while, but just busy with the football and soccer and things and stuff going on, Ohtanis and da-da-da-da-da. But let's not forget that there is a little sport called hockey up here in Canada that we that don't cover enough, which is fine. It really gets down to the nitty-gritty in the second half of the season after Christmas there. But the one thing that I've noticed a lot, I talked about in the morning show today, is the goaltending's bad. And pretty much you have about 4 or 5 teams who are really good, and everyone else is kind of just average. Like, they're just kind of average, and that's it. You have the Oilers they're on a hot streak right now, but they'll fall back down. And the Rangers are flying high. I think they're very good. The Kings are really high right now. We talked about it off air a little bit, doing it with some good players. They have a couple of guys with Kopitar and Drew Doughty, been there for a long time. But doing it with a goaltender that everybody gave up on with Talbot there, sometimes the future doesn't look so bright. Sometimes you have to hold on to the past to make things work.
It's just like, the pitcher, the quarterback, the goalie, like, how can it work at one place and he just suck, and then you move to another place and now it really works for you? Like someone like Talbot, he's had a resurgence. He's always been, I've never thought he was awful. He's been serviceable.
Okay. Serviceable.
Yeah.
Good word, yeah.
Yeah. But now with LA, he's having a year, and I don't know if that's goaltending coach. I don't know if his style finally agrees with the style of hockey that's being played in front of him, or is it just like, this is my last kick in the cat, I better shape up or fuck off? I don't know, because it is voodoo, and everybody will always say that. How there's been a lot of rookie goaltenders who have come through and won a Stanley Cup, and you never hear of them again. That fucker for Holtby, who won with the Capitals.
Raymond Holtby and his mom from Lloydminster, Alberta there. And his mom was on TV as much as he was from Washington. Yeah.
Yeah.
Never heard from again.
Cam Ward, like he milked that Stanley Cup into a 15-year career, right?
Won the MVP that year, the Conn Smythe.
Yeah, against the Oilers. And then so it does have, and then that fucker for Pittsburgh that stole the job from Fleury.
Murray.
Like, I don't know. I don't understand. Like, okay, so you're good. Well, like, why don't you just stay good? And then you got someone like Jonathan Quick who bursts on the scene, wins his 2 cups, and plays like a maniac for 7 years, and now he's
playing some great goal for the Rangers right now too. That's part of the reason why they're doing so great. He's supposed to, it's a side piece right now, and he's doing great. Like it is crazy how goaltending is such a major part of the game, and it gets left behind. There's a lot of bad goaltending happening right now across National Hockey League. I talked about this morning. Like it's actually like it's almost concerning to a point where like you can't depend on the guy to make a save. You can't depend on the guy because the goaltender's job is to. It's shitty because I'm an ex-tender from a long time ago, but my only job back then was to stop pucks because someone else made a mistake in front of me, and I'm the last line of defense. And now you can't depend on these guys, and this isn't just 1420 talk. This is right across sports talk radio, who talk hockey. That a lot of teams have concerns in net. And there's 32 NHL teams, and there's not 64 NHL goalies. But another problem is you have 130 goalies who are going to play this year. Like, with injuries and everything else, and there's just not enough goaltenders to play, and they're talking about expansion. Who's going to play in these fucking teams? Who's going to play in these teams? Let's not even get into goalies days. They're talking about going to Atlanta. They're talking about going to Houston. They're talking, like, I've heard rumors about going 40 teams. Oh, who's playing? Like,
well, 40 teams is a stretch, but I think there'll be 34 within the next 10 years.
There'll be 34 in 4 years.
Yeah. So
who's playing?
Well, that's just more jobs, so everybody's going to like it. The union's going to like it. The owners are going to like it because they get expansion fees. Like so
fans aren't going to like it.
Well, the new markets are going to like it. So, excuse me. Well, I don't know. And then why would Atlanta get a third kick at the cat? But
that's what I don't understand.
It's not my monkeys, not my circus. So I'll let them fucking deal with that. Back to the goalie thing. I think more than anything now, like I'm not gonna diminish the athleticism, but like a goalie and the quick glove and this and that, it ain't that anymore.
No,
it's all about positioning. It's all about. I think you as a goalie, you obviously you need to be athletic, but let's just say every goalie has the same skill set, which I think they do within like a very small margin of someone can do one thing better than the other. It's studying game tape of the other team and knowing their tendencies. If his tendency is to go this way in the cross ice pass, and then read that, and then you have to anticipate, because if you're not anticipating and being in the right position, these players are so skilled, the equipment, the stick, blah blah blah. You're digging it out of the back of the net. They can shoot a fucking ass out of a fly from 20 feet. They're not going to miss. So unless you're there and are able to anticipate exactly what's going to be happening in front of you, that's the only way you have a chance to even maintain your spot in the league these days.
But now you're not even like these guys are so fucking big, man. Like, it's not like you're fucking having Brent Radlinski 6'1", 6'2", whatever I was, 145 pounds playing that. These guys are 6'6", 6'7", like Vasilevsky 6'6", 230. They're covering like Skinner, like for Edmonton. They're just massive guys. They're covering most of the net. That's what boggles my mind. These guys are, with their equipment and the size of them, they are covering way more net than Grant Fuhr was back in. And yes, they're different sticks and different skill sets and everything else. They're not Wayne Gretzky in every fucking team. But these guys have less to do as goaltenders than the guys did in the fucking 90s. Like, let's not even go to the 80s and Grant Fuhr. Let's go to the 90s with Brodeur and Belfour and Ranford and Roy, and on it went. And Hasek, like we just talked about. These guys nowadays have way less to do, way less than the guys back 20 years ago. And it ain't.
Why? Yeah, as far as like coming out and
those guys were goalies. These guys pucks hit them.
Yeah, I agree with you. It's all about positioning. Like that's the coaching part about it now. It's just all coaching, like up, down, and they're flexible and covering the bottom. But now when you're when they're spread on the ground, they're like you say, they're so big when they puff it out. Like it's like a fucking lizard in mating season, right? They're just making themselves as big as they can to try and cover all that up. You like that one, did you?
I'm writing that one down, a lizard in mating season. I don't know what it meant, but whatever.
Well, the ones that run around with the fluffed up gills and shit like that. But I honestly believe, and then you have to be mentally sharp. Like I don't know what kind of drug testing they are, but like I would be giving them epinephrine every single game, because you got to be fucking pinging so mentally sharp and focused all the time.
Because I played at a much lower level, obviously, but it's tough. Like you never get a pat in the back when you win, but you get a lot of kicks in the ass when you fucking lose, right? And I shouldn't say you never get a pat in the back when you win, but man, oh man, it's tough between the years for goaltender and everything else. But it just seems you don't have, like, if I named 32 teams, I'm a goalie hugger. I couldn't name 32 goalies to start the National Hockey League. Yes, times have changed, obviously, but there's a lot of such no names. I don't fucking know.
It's a carousel, right? And there's just so much hockey on all the time too. Like, how are you supposed to know everybody, right? The ones that have made who was Aiden Hill, quick, and I only know Aiden Hill because he was on the Stanley Cup champs last year. Vasilevsky, Shishkin, Fleury still in the league, Hellebuck still in the league, Markstrom. I'm running out, but I do know a couple more. Damko, what's the fucker's name in
Thatcher Demko out in Vancouver?
Yeah,
they're big. They're just big dudes. Like Hellebuck's a massive, massive dude. And
you don't have these quick ones. And then the Calgary brought up that Dustin Wolf.
He's quick. Like, a lot of pucks don't hit him, but he's fun to watch. He was in that the other night, and I watched that game on Tuesday, I think it was, and that guy is fucking up, down, all around, going all over the place, acrobat to beat hell. Some pucks didn't hit him, but he's fun to watch.
Well, and then I hope he kind of makes a run of it, because once again, listening to that Barn Burner podcast, he was told he was too small for the WHL and won goalie of the year there. He was told he was too small for the American Hockey League. Back to back, he won goalie of the year and MVP one year as a minor hockey goalie. So you got to give this fucker a chance. And to be told you can't do it the whole time, and not only succeeding, like excelling and being named like the best. Like, so it's going to be interesting to see, but just being told you can't do it, like Jose Altuve, right? Like, you've been told you're too fucking small. You're too fucking small. And I would imagine that puts a pretty big chip on someone's shoulder and gives you the drive and the competitive fire you need to succeed.
You wonder if there was some kind of I don't know how you would do it. I mean, there's obviously a podcast probably done it, or a TV show's done it, or whatever else. But if you went through it might be actually a fun little thing to do. I don't know how we would possibly do it, but put current NHL GM scouts or whatever in a room, and then put the scouting report from 1985 out on the table without seeing anything. Because the first thing you read now obviously everything's iPads and video and everything else. But put a scouting report from the scout that saw some kid play in Lethbridge, and here's the scouting report. The first thing they would see, a goaltender, he's 5'10", or 6'1", okay, even 6'1". He's 6'1", 160 pounds, doesn't move well. Done. Throw it away. Done. Throw it away. Right. And then they don't get to see him play. Like, how many? And then now, if he's and he ended up being a very good NHL goaltender, or a serviceable NHL goaltender, like with the guy I was saying, like, Noodles was 6'1", 185, right? And he ended up playing for 15 years National Hockey League, right? And he would never have got a chance because people didn't, the stuff between the ears and the psyche and everything else was going on. Now with what you have to be, it's all sports. You have to have a certain physique, a certain size, or else you know what, you're fucked. The stats matter, the rest of it doesn't, and that's where professional sports is getting things wrong. I don't think I'm wrong on that.
No, and I think it's a disservice to the game because, like you say, how many times, like the first thing, how many D-men, right? Like, fuck, too small, right? You just get automatically, oh no, man, you got to see this guy play, and it's
baseball is exit velocity is this. No, he's done.
Yeah, it's just that, just looking at a guy's size and weight, that's not analytics. That's not even an eye test. You're just fucking looking at it, looking at a guy's measurements and deciding if he's worthy of even a tryout for your team or not. Like, unless you want to get there and watch a guy play, and a guy like Noodles, he'll tell you himself he was a C goalie at best, but he was awesome in the room. And goalies liked having him. The number ones loved having him in the room. And if you can be a good teammate, that goes so far. If you want to have a winner, if you don't give a fuck, then have any kind of asshole you want in there. But if you want to win, you do need a good locker room, especially in hockey, and you need guys like that can be the intangible that gets guys comfortable and playing the best and playing for each other.
Fuck, I tell you what, Dave, being a good teammate and having good teammates in your room is so invaluable. Like we talked about in the opening segment there with Christine Sinclair, how she was such a great teammate. We're kind of going for full circle here a little bit, but having a good teammate, man, that means so much because you could fill a room full of superstars. You ain't winning fuck all. You're not.
No, you're right.
Like, when does that ever happen? Like, can you name, it's obviously happened, but I can't think of one where it's happened and it's all worked out swimmingly. Where like, get player here, and we're going to win. It doesn't happen very often. Otherwise, everyone would just do it.
Right, because, I don't know what the clubhouse is like for the Dodgers, but they've had the biggest payroll in baseball for quite some time now.
They got one bogus one.
They got a half a ring. It seemed to me that Baltimore kind of had the mojo going this year, but they didn't do it. Texas seemed to have a bit of mojo, as did Arizona, and those were the teams in the World Series. The Blues definitely had a lot of mojo. They were playing for each other, right? And same with the Tampa Bay. They were a tight group, and they played for each other. They had it figured out. And you can always almost tell by those victory parades, right? Yeah. In basketball, I would say the Warriors have it kind of figured out.
But I think that comes from their top guy. Like, neither of us are the biggest basketball fans. We don't follow it. Like, I'm not even pretend to even know what's going on there. But when your top guy is a solid guy, that helps. Right? Like Steph Curry seems like a pretty solid dude. He's like, he keeps things down. He keeps things level-headed. And I like this might be talking out of my ass, but when your top guy is actually the top guy, not a quasi top guy, that helps. Right? When your top guy has done it, like, okay, like because especially in the NBA where like Kevin Durant comes in, okay, what have you done? And this guy comes in, like, who's the guy who goes from team to team? Harden, and they're like, okay, shut up, dude.
Oh, fuck, yeah. You're just a piece. You can't do it.
Now you're going to fuck us over too, like you fucked over your other team.
Well, look at you. Sorry, go
ahead, sorry.
Well, I was just going to say Columbus Blue Jackets, right? They're trying to buy it. They got Line A and fucking Johnny Hockey.
I mean, them fuck all ever.
Yeah, they're playing rookies and winning with rookies. Well, either one or two of those is stapled to the bench or eating popcorn.
The only time that ever works is like it worked in Detroit when they first were I don't want to say buying cups. The first one they got in '97, I think it was, and Eisman was still but he took a step back and Scotty Bowman said, "Okay, listen, you're great, but this guy's going to score goals." But the guys who came in to score goals knew that Eisman was still the fucking guy.
Still the leader, but became
like he's still the guy. But he's going to take a step back. He's going to be a second line center. He's going to be a penalty killer, whatever it might have been. And like if you bring a guy in to become the guy, on a team that's already been building for a little bit, you're not going to do fuck all. Because a culture has to happen. Am I wrong on that?
No, I completely agree. Like, you can't buy cohesion. You can't buy camaraderie. And if some guy, like, whether he be like on paper the best person available, like it worked for Kawhi Leonard in with the Raptors. It's kind of funny how we're coming up with all these basketball references. But
I think with the Raptors,
he had something to prove. Yeah,
Kawhi didn't want to be the forefront of the organization. Like, he didn't want to be the pitcher guy. He didn't want to be the billboard guy. That was still Kyle Lowry doing that.
Yeah,
right. Whereas when a guy comes in and says, "I want to," like, what's on Major League 2? What was his name? The catcher, something, man, Berkman.
I never watched Major League 2.
It's pretty okay. It's pretty okay. It's not great. It's pretty okay. And they brought this guy in to put them over the hump because they didn't win the World Series in the Major League 1 and la da 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 da. And when you get brought in to be the guy on a team that's close, it never goes well. Like, when to put us over the hump never gets even breached.
Yeah, no, I hear what you're saying. You know, the exception, but it's not, would be Ray Bork going to the Avalanche back. But
they were close to winning regardless.
Yeah, well, and they had won like a year or two earlier anyways. Yeah. And then Bork wasn't there to be the leaders. That was already Sakic and Forsberg's job. He was just there to be a really.
Raw was there and everything else.
So. Oh yeah, that was a really good team without him. Like, he was.
Like, it was almost a gift to Bork.
For sure.
Okay, here, go here, and you'll get your ring and you retire and right off in the sunset.
You know, but like you have in football, you know, Brett Favre tried to do it with the Jets, and then Minnesota
didn't work
out with, and it would be interesting to see what happened to would have happened to Rodgers. TB12 made it work in Tampa. Yeah. Well, Peyton made it work. Peyton made it work in Denver, but ironically, he lost those 2 games. Like, he should have had 3 Super Bowls in Denver, but he fucked 2 of them up when he was at the peak of his talents. And the one he won is when he was fucking
at his least.
Yeah, shot putting the ball 20 yards down the field and let
he was at his least then. So yeah, it's funny. When there's a shiny toy at the end of their career, and these owners see it, and you wonder what the rest of the locker room is saying. Like, that guy's fucking 70. Like, why the fuck is he coming in here? Like, we didn't win without him, and he's not how good he was 10 years ago. He's not. And it happens so often where these guys get traded at the end of their careers and they're like, fuck me, man. Like, he's not as good as the guy we had last year because he has a shiny nameplate in the back of his fucking Ferrari.
Like, and he has a pedigree, but
his resume says this, but his resume also hasn't been updated in fucking 3 years.
You know, but on the flip side, the Jays, one of the best teams ever, they did it with Ricky, with Mulder, with Dave Henderson, right? They brought in those guys but
Winfield and there, on and on.
Yeah, you know, but I guess also too, if you're just a professional that cares about winning, like Bork did, right? Like Kawhi did, like those guys with the Blue Jays did, that was more important than anything. They were with Toronto because they wanted a fucking World Series.
You know what I like about Kawhi is that there was no secret he didn't want to go there. Like, there was no secret, right?
You get 1 year.
Yeah. And there was not even a year. You have this many months. You have this many months.
Well, one season.
I'm here for this long, and I'm leaving. I'm not even unpacking a fucking bag. I'm not seeing the outside of fucking Canada once. I'm going from my fucking condo in downtown Toronto to my underground parking. Then I'm driving over to the Rogers Center, or not Rogers Center,
Air Canada Center.
It was ACC back then, or Scotiabank, whatever it is now. I will never be outside once in Canada, and he wasn't.
I'll look at the snow.
I'll look at the snow from my condo, and I'm not brushing snow off my vehicle, and he didn't. It wasn't a secret. It was not a secret. He was not going to stay there. And as soon as that championship was won, he was on a parade, and it was 105 degrees outside in fucking Toronto, downtown. And then 3 days later, his uncle got involved, and he was out. I'm leaving. It wasn't a shocker. And good enough. Thank you.
He didn't tease him. Like he didn't fuck around, right? He didn't give him the Johnny Gaudreau and play it out. It's just like,
the only person in fucking Canada that thought that fucking Kawhi Leonard was staying in fucking Toronto was my wife, Deanne, right upstairs here. She goes, he'll stay. They won. I said, he's not staying. Because I remember when he the airplane and this and that, and there was TSN was covering it. And I remember we were at the garage pub in Medicine Hat, and she goes, "Oh, he is not leaving." I said, "He's already gone. Like, he's not staying here. He didn't want to be here in the first place. And he won a championship. Now that that's on his resume. He put a few more zeros on the end of his new contract. Wherever he's going, he ain't staying here." And it's part of Canadiana now. Like, he has one of the greatest moments in Canadian basketball history.
Oh, that shot!
It's a very short list, but it's one of those.
That shot he made to end this series against Philadelphia is iconic.
Easter Sunday.
That's one of the best sports highlights ever, because just the way it bounced and the tension in the air, and so
I knew where I was. Like, I still know where I was that day. I was at Pops North with my brother, and you remember Stretchy? Remember him?
Oh yeah, the hugger.
Yeah, he's a hugger. Yeah, we were at Pops North. We were building that Cavendish French fry plant, and that's like Easter Sunday. That's where we went and watched the last bit of it before we're like, the game was ending. Like, oh yeah, fuck, and one of those days. Like, yeah, I remember, and the way it bounced around, the 3 bounces and went in, and yeah, it was fantastic. Fantastic.
Oh yeah, it was tension filled. Like, just the way the ball hung. It was like one of those Tigerwood putts. The thing, like, you had a chance to hold your breath and will it or won't it, and then the crowd erupts. Like, it was awesome. It was
better moment, the Tiger Woods putt or the Kawhi shot?
Oh, that Tiger Woods putt. Without a doubt. The one that hung and just
where they say that the crowd they say the crowd moving and awing about it that made the ground shake, because that ball stopped, in my opinion. That ball stopped. And the way the Nike ball, because they said, like, I've watched a lot of different things on it. The way the crowd's like, oh fuck, and just the noise of the crowd, because there was probably 10,000 people saying oh fuck right then. And how it went in the hole. It was something else. Like, that was unbelievable.
Are you sure you're not thinking about Caddyshack? Where Carl set off all the explosions to get the goal?
I know I'm not. I actually look it up, Dave. I'm a man of integrity here, man.
I'm not looking it up. Since when? First of all, since when did we start looking shit up? And B, when did it become me to start looking shit up? Fuck.
Well, because
we got Garrett and Tim aren't here. Yeah.
At least if you look it up, then we prove ourselves wrong before Tim gets a chance. One of those.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
It's you look back on those yesteryear things, and like we talk about it a lot, is that there are moments in sports that will relish forever, and the different things. And I don't know if sports are better, and that's just old man talking. But I don't know. Like, I hope 50 years down the road, and I hope Jasper doesn't follow the podcasting down the road, because they're probably been doing spaceships with the Jetsons, whatever else. But you just wonder 20, 30, 40 years down the road if these memories will still be around. Because I don't think kids watch sports as much as they used to. I really don't.
I know for a fact my kid doesn't. But I still got it in me. Like, I've divorced the Oilers, and I have been watching more hockey as of late. I don't know why. It seems that it's on, and I'm watching it, and I'm not invested. But with the way fucking Russell Wilson lost that game for the Broncos on Monday, I still let out a mighty fuck. So I still care about that one. When the boys in orange and blue are playing at Mile High.
What's the score in that the Pittsburgh game tonight?
I don't know.
I saw that, because like on Jared's show from Corner Booth Podcast, Belly Up show there tonight. We did our over-under. I thought it was going to be like 6-0. Because both of these are terrible.
Well, it was it's 21-18. I'm actually going to turn the game back on. It's 21.
I had it 9-3 max. I thought 6-0 maybe.
The over-under was
I didn't think any team was going to score a touchdown.
No,
actually, and then I thought, well, it might be like 16-9. I think there might be a defensive touchdown.
Actually, I don't know because I have the game paused at the thing because, there was a turnover and I wanted to watch it because, well, the Pats are up 21-18 and I can watch a game after I know the score. I don't care. So I just put it back to live.
I
see what 21-18 Pats, and it's $1.20 left in the game.
I hope it.
So, I don't because I think Denver's going to catch them, but Denver's going to have to catch a bunch of teams. Denver's only a game back, and this Pittsburgh team's not good at all. Like how the fuck they won 7, I will never understand. Never understand.
Yeah. If you when you're 85 years old and sitting here, we're sitting down probably trying to suck down a Budweiser non-alcoholic, and I'm in a Bud Light non-alcoholic beer and everything else. We're still doing this stupid podcast, and Jasper comes to put you to bed when we're still doing this 30 years from now. What do you think? Because your formidable years are when you're 13 to 25, like the ones you remember. Like we talk about those years a lot in our lives. Yeah. Like do the Marty McFly Back to the Future 10 to 12 years from now. What's your prediction that Jasper's that's the one he's going to remember? What do you mean? Sports moment in his life, like in the next 7 years, like with the way sports landscape's going on, what's one when let's say when Jasper 6 years from now, what's the one he's going to go, fuck yeah. Well, he's still and like remember that one. I can't believe I'm saying this. Like it's the Bautista bat flip. He has a phone. Jeez, phone. That's almost 9 years ago now. 8 years. Yeah. Ago. Yeah, but that's pretty iconic as well. That Bautista, his phone case is a Bautista. It has Bautista's bat flip on it. It's as a baseball player, he loved it. Hold on, I'm gonna sneeze. But it was a great moment, but they didn't win. Yeah. No, I get it. I hear what you're saying, but. Yeah, you hit a home run and you went to the next round, but you didn't win. It was a great I know where I was. The moment, yes, same. It's the moment, and I think that's the way the kids consume sports these days. It's more about the moments and making the crowd go wild than and fuck. What's yours? I don't think we ever talked about what's your like. Fuck, that was so fucking cool, and that was so great. Like looking back, I have 40 years. Quite a few. 40 years. Like when you were just like you're 13 years old. What's the one to go? Oh, that was something else, man. I remember. I went fucking nutty when the Gretzky Lemieux Canada Cup goal. Yeah, that one made me go nutty. 87. Yeah, when Gretzky scored it wasn't in the cup, it was against the Flames. He scored short side from the boards. I think that was game 6 against Verney. Mike Vernon was in that Hall of Famer. It shouldn't be a Hall of Famer, but Ken Harris still thinks he is. That was in 1989. No, he was already a king by 89. That was in 87. 86, 87, yeah. No, 86 was, I think, that was the Steve Smith goal. 86 was Steve Smith. Yeah, that was the Smith goal. Yeah, I remember that. I remember Kirk Gibson's home run. 88. I remember fucking Jose Canseco just crushing that one in the ALCS against 90. Toronto. First Skydome, yeah. Yeah, hit it like a fucking... Fifth deck. He hit it a country mile. I
I've ever the Mets. I've ever watching that game with Buckner.
The one about Canseco is like the Jays thought they had a contender, and that's the year after they went out and got.
Well, they did because they finally beat.
They were good.
They finally beat Detroit, right?
Yeah, they were good, and then they realized then that's the year they had to go out and get. They traded McGriff and Fernandez for Joe
Padres
Carter and Alomar because they were we're not that good yet. Like one of those deals. Like fuck. Yeah, that thing. Like Canseco hit that thing a fucking mile. That was crazy.
He hit the camera because I remember watching the next game and they went on pregame or whatever, and he dented the camera, and then he actually autographed the camera and stuff like that. The big.
I saw him play for the Sacramento whatever the fuck River Cats or something up in Edmonton in the California League. There was one of those years where they had those cockamamie leagues kicking around.
The California Penal League?
Yeah, pretty much. It should have been like, holy fuck. Like, just an embarrassment. His twin brother, Ozzy, was on the team as well. Yeah, fuck me. There's things, you wonder, like, it's crazy how you remember those things from that long ago, but like the ones that are only 10 years ago, they don't hold as much weight, right? Yeah, life gets in the way, and sports are different. But yeah, it's no. You remember those ones?
Probably the most recent one was when Denver was in the Super Bowl against Carolina, and then Von Miller had that strip sack on Cam Newton, and Cam Newton didn't dive on the ball. He's like, "Oh fuck, no, I might hurt myself if I dive on that ball." I don't know if you know what I'm talking about. On that
I do.
But yeah, that was one of my more recent ones of ones that is like, yeah, fuck, we got this one.
The Oilers Cup run in 2004, that one was fun to watch. The Yankees
was that was Ranford in that then?
No, not 2004, 2006. With Pronger and everything else, that was fun.
Okay, yeah, with Rolling.
Going to that one was fun. The 2009 Yankees World Series was all right, but they kind of bought that team, so it didn't mean a lot to me. The 2001 World Series the Yankees lost is my all-time favorite.
To the Diamondbacks.
To Diamondbacks, yeah. The USC the Texas game with USC. That's one of my favorite games. Like one of the greatest games I've ever watched in my life. The way it all turned out, that was fantastic. Yeah, there's a few, but not as many. Like not as many as it was when you were a kid, right? It's just maybe because we get so busy as adults, right? You just don't.
And it meant more, right? It still means a lot, but you understand it. It has a little bit of context in your life of your day to day. But when you don't have a lot of responsibilities, and you don't have like
because when you can go to school the next day, or go to a bar the next day with your buddies or whatever it might be, or sitting around with your buddies, right? Yeah. Then you and you have someone to talk to the next day, and their memories of it, it probably adds to it, right? Yeah. It's just how sports changes over when you get a little bit older. It's Jesus, there's probably a game tonight that's a better moment that something happens, someone remember that we'll never will. And there's regular season games like holy fuck, it's just great. But yeah, it's funny. But I always wonder, like when I talk to kids on the baseball field, not kids, or grown men or young men, I guess. And who's your player? I don't really have one. You don't have one. It's odd.
Well, like what's your last favorite thing on Twitter right now? Like that's
Taylor Swift or Sierra or whatever.
No, but they still watch sports. I gotta think, right? Or are they all instructional videos? Like I know my kid, like it's just a highlight league.
That's all it is. More instructional videos. I was talking with Todd Hubka here in Lethbridge. He's a PBA coach. He's been around baseball forever. He goes, what's ruining baseball, right, Linsky? I'm like, oh, fill me in, Hub. Tell me again. He goes, the fucking internet. And Hub's a crusty old baseball guy, right? He's been around forever. He goes, the fucking internet. All they watch is videos about how to hit a baseball. You hit a baseball, see ball, hit ball, swing the fucking bat. He's got a good point. He's got a very good point. So it's one of those things. Anyways, Dave, do you we've been talking about God knows what for how knows long, but do you got a would you rather tonight?
I do have a would you rather. It's
like
kind of it's not too deep. It's not too
little monotone Christmas show tonight a little bit.
Yeah, it has been. We just you don't have to have the gas on the floor all the time, right? We can just
we're not if you come to the 1420 Sports Bar podcast for breakdowns of games and everything else, you came to the wrong fucking place. We're bar sports talk that you should have with all your friends, or join us here at the 1420 podcast. Go ahead with your would you rather, Dave.
So you're in charge of the guest list. Would you rather home for the holidays or a tropical destination?
I'd rather be home for the holidays. Like we talked about it on the opening tonight. Like as much as I hate shoveling snow and everything else, I still revel at going home for Christmas. Like the same house my mom's still in to this day. I love home for the holidays. Like we're kind of planning because we're actually gonna have 3 houses available at Christmas time this year. Our new place, we're moving over there at Squamish, this one, and then mom's in Fort McLeod. And I'm kind of leaning towards, I don't know if I haven't told Deanne yet, but I'm kind of leaning towards waking up on Christmas morning at 552 22nd Street, Fort McLeod. I love it.
In the old race car bed with
the race car bed, the Stanley Cup sheets, the whole bit, right? And just like around Christmas time, and you like to be home, and I'm from a very small town, so when you Christmas Eve you walk down Main Street and you have a beer. Oh, the Queens is closed now, but I was
going to ask where's everybody going? Not to Queens this year.
I don't know. Maybe we'll have a party at Mom's house. She don't know it yet, but one of those things. But
open up the garage if it's nice.
There you go. So it's one of those things. Like home for the holidays for me. For me, it's home for the holidays for sure.
I myself, it doesn't really matter as long as I can control the guest list. I think I wouldn't mind. I've been in tropical destinations. For New Year's before, more than once. I've been in Mexico a couple times for New Year's. I've been in Thailand for New Year's. I kind of dig it. Christmas, I've always been home for Christmas though.
Yeah.
And so when I say that, I'm remembering the nice times I've had on holidays.
Oh, I've had some horrible ones. Don't get me wrong there. There's been some button heads at Christmas time with my family, but no, yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Like you control the guest list. You can say who's going to be there. Like, so you're not without your family. And at the end of the day, I do agree with you. Being home for the holidays, it's comforting.
Yeah.
It's nice. It's normal. And I've always said that, Christmas is for the family. New Year's is for the friends. And
I'm not a New Year's guy. Like if I'm out, it's a good time. But like I'm ready to go at 12:02.
Oh, not this cat. I'm a New Year's guy. New Year's is fuck. I love New Year's. Well, I used to. Sorry. Like back in the day, like bar going, especially it was always in Montana. I met my wife on New Year's Eve.
No, I've gotten to a point on New Year's Day where like if I'm out and about, like I'll do my kiss with Deanne at like 11:58, like a Happy New Year, and then at 12 o'clock I go to the washroom because I don't know who the fuck you are. Like fuck off, and stay fucked off. And that's crusty Brent. Like that's crusty Brent, and that's on me. Like that's on me. Like I'm like, hey, Happy New Year. Hey, hi, fuck off. I didn't see you this year. I won't see you next year. That's me.
So then that's different for me though as well because since Jasper's been born, I haven't been at an establishment. I've been at somebody's house for like the last 13.
Oh, you've been someone's house. I'll do the same thing.
Oh, not I love it. And then especially now that we can go down to every time we go down to Montana. So like 7 of the last 10 years we've been on Montana. And what has 2 thumbs and loves fireworks? This guy.
I don't mind
fireworks. Man. Oh, I spend too much money on fireworks and at 11. Like I'm gone at 11:40 and I'm setting them up. and then I'll get a buddy. I'll like,
See, I got to do that because then you're busy lighting fireworks when the clock strikes 12, and you're like, "Fuck off! I'm lighting fireworks." Then and then actually you're high fiving, not shaking hands and hugging, like, "Oh, it's awesome!" Yeah, good.
Oh no, but it's me and a buddy. Like we're gone. Like we're out of the.
No,
house.
I know, but like what I'm saying is like when the clock strikes 12, the fireworks go off. You don't have the awkward, weird hug thing and shaking hands. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, so Kaylee gets her kiss before I go out, and she gets
100%. 11:58, Deanne gets her smoochy woochy and fucking maybe a little grab from behind, and then I go on my merry way. It's like one of those things. Like I love the holidays, but it's just like New Year's is a bit, and then 12:05, I'm good. But there's a 7-minute span in there where I'm just like, oh, fuck. I'm going to talk to someone I don't give a fuck about it, and they don't give a fuck about me. I'm like, hey, dude, hey.
But once again, like I guess like we play games where families. It's going to be the same. It's the Mecklenburg family. We've been with them, the Matson family. We've been with them for.
See, that's different.
5 of the last 7 years, right? So the kids know each other. The kids know. So
know what you're getting yourself into.
Oh yeah, it's like we've been friends for so long, and our families know each other. There's no awkwardness at all, right? So it's not like there's no.
Even if I know people, it's awkward.
Like,
I don't know.
Fuck, you can figure it out. You got to talk about baseball.
Yeah, there's a lot of things going on. Oh, it's 12.
But anyways, yeah. Sorry?
12. Oh, I thought we were doing 12 Pacific. Fuck. I was watching Dick Clark from New York at 10.
And there's actually been years just because the music's been playing on. We're playing games and horsing around and visiting and it's like, holy fuck, we only got 5 minutes left.
I remember.
We missed. Yeah.
A couple of years back, we still living in the hat, and we were fucking drunk off our ass. Not like obliterated, but we were watching. And, you get busy and and time goes by, and we were watching Dick Clark's Rockin' New Year's Eve, hosted by Ryan Seacrest, and oh fuck, and it was only 10. Hey, it was over. Perfect. Perfect. I'm going to bed.
I've always, as a kid, like, they don't raise and drop that ball once an hour for every time zone, do they? They only drop they
tape it once. That's it.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
They tape it once. It's up there right now. Like they raise it in December. It's there all year long. The ball's up there in Times Square. I've seen it.
Yeah.
Like I've been in Times Square, 10 times. But it's there, and it's sitting, and then they raise it up, and then it's just there, and it's not. I got
a buddy that went to New York for him and his wife.
I heard it's the worst experience in the world.
That's what he said. He goes,
you can't go anywhere and piss.
You can't get a drink. You can't take a piss. Like it's just like fucking people everywhere.
Yeah, I quite like we stay at this place every time we go to Manhattan. There, the Manhattan in Times Square. It's about 2 blocks from Central Park, and then you can see the ball from those side. Whatever it is, and it's a whole lot of feathers, not much chicken. Like it's fun, but it's all right.
It's literally a made-for-TV event, right?
Yeah. No, I've never done the New Year's in Times Square.
And I've always wondered that. It's not like, I get it. Like I'm a drinker, but you don't have to get hammered. But
being beverage friendly is important.
Yeah, like having 4 beer, like I don't know. That's not too much to ask.
Having a beer at your disposal at an event is important. Like you don't got to get hammered. You got to be double fisted. You don't got to have 10, 12, 15. But if I'm watching a baseball game or something, football, whatever else at an event, Super Bowl, World Series, whatever, I would rather have a beer in my hand. Like I'm not guzzling, I'm not pounding them, but having one in my hand is better than not having one in my hand.
Right. It's like
right?
And at the risk of sounding like an alcoholic, I'd rather it be a beer than a can of Coke or a Mountain Dew or whatever.
Yes.
Like beer. Yeah. Beer is just my beverage.
I get much more vocal. I talk a little bit more. I all of a sudden I like you a little bit more if I have beer in my hand.
Yeah.
Like if I'm drinking 3 fucking glasses of water or bottles of water, I probably won't like you as much.
No, and you know,
that sounds, but it's true.
Yeah, I drink to make you more interesting.
Yes, be more interesting, so I don't drink as much.
Yeah, yeah, that's just the way it is. It's not. We don't make the rules, man.
No, we just follow them.
We just follow them.
Actually, I think we make the rules and follow them quite strictly, quite stringently or stringlessly, or whatever it is. So
yeah, depending who's there, right?
There it is. There, no, Dave. Fun show tonight. We didn't get too in depth about anything. We didn't solve any problems. We made it create a few more, but no, it was fun. What do you got going on this weekend? I got a. Speaking of, I got a Christmas party on Saturday night. The Patterson Broadcast Media Group is at downstairs at the Keg. We have a Christmas party on Saturday night.
Oh, good for you at the Country Kitchen Catering. Is that?
I believe they do it. I don't know. It's my third. I don't fucking know. Whatever.
So they have KFC there as a general rule, don't they?
I hope so.
Well, that'd be a fucking. I love KFC.
I might phone ahead if they have KFC. I might bring Tupperware.
Well, you know what? You could even should bring a Ziploc bag and put it outside because it is better cold.
Yeah, 2 a.m. 2 a.m.
No,
we want to get home. Yeah, this still warm up without that. It's good.
Eat it in the back of the Uber on the way home. Fucking wiping your greasy hands on the back.
No, they're doing it quite well. It's full bar, full everything, free for all the food, everything else, and they're cabs, everything over from here from the west side over to the Keg. So it should be a lot of fun. And they're
pick up and jump up.
It's the whole Mariana, so it should be a good time. I should. I'll probably have to put my phone away because it might be different. But they're good guys. Like they're pretty good people, and the media group is there. They're different, but no, it should be a lot of fun. There's no getting around.
Well, that's good to hear. Actually, Katie and I have had to send our regrets to a Christmas party this weekend, as we are going down to the great state of Montana tomorrow.
Well, there you go.
Yeah, Amazon, believe it or not, is a little bit different in the States than it is in Canada. So there is some stuff in boxes that have to make it to the tree here in Canada. That's what we're going to do. The ski hill, I looked at the webcam today. We ain't skiing. There's snow there.
Not yet. No, not yet.
Sparse, I believe, is the word. If it was an old man's head, we'd call it thinning. And then so that's what we're doing this weekend, coming home, then fucking ramp up to Christmas, get those Harry Connick and Mariah Carey tunes turned on and get into the spirit, and before you know it, we're there, brother.
Obviously I like Mariah Carey, but there's a Backstreet Boys Christmas Time Again. I like that one a lot. It's kind of overtaken my my Christmas, but the U2 one, Baby Please Come Home, that's still my favorite. I love that song.
No, that Diane Love Baby Please Come Home is my favorite. The one that sings on Letterman. I think even you would know it. That's my favorite. I really like. I fucking dig her version. And you know, and I don't want to besmirch Mariah's version. It's a hell of a toe tapper, and it's really good. But I cannot stand that woman. I've never liked her. Weird.
I agree to an extent.
Okay.
It's a lot. I get that, but I also have to take Derek Sanderson Jeter's advice. Maybe not be around Mariah Carey.
Don't put your dick in crazy.
If Gene says it's time to go, it's time to go. You know what I mean? Like, if a Hall of Famer says don't, then don't.
Yeah, when you're like, you know, and that's something too, because that was back in Mariah's prime, right? Like physically as well, and he stiff armed her and like, you know,
I gotta go. I think his mom probably had something to say with that. Dr. Charles and Mom Dorothy said, she's not coming to Kalamazoo. She's not. That's my opinion on that one, but we could talk about that another day. But it's fun. Fun show day. We'll do it again on Monday night. We'll talk some NFL, do our 3Fs, everything else. And who won that game?
Not the Steelers.
Oh,
and I thought about it. I had my finger on the Pats. I had it on the Pats, and I switched it.
Fuck me. I'm falling behind that fucking pool. Fucking Steelers and fucking fuck.
Well, here's the thing.
I'm pool, 4 out now, so it's over.
But it's not over. You can you got to make up one game a week. That's all you got to do. And
I don't have the wherewithal or the gumption.
Well, sure you do. You never know. No,
I give up quite easily on life. I'm done.
That's hardly true. You got to give yourself more credit. It's 1 a week, and none of the leaders would have picked the Pats to beat Pittsburgh.
I think the leaders. And it's funny. The funny thing, we'll get off this half a second. I think there's 2 football pool players in the world: guys who follow it and who win, and guys who fall into it and win. And I'm guy who falls into it and has been close, because I don't fucking watch a ton. I kind of go, yeah. This one feels right. This one feels right. I think the guys ahead of me, they follow a little bit more than I do.
Well, then their names would be at the top of the list every year, and they're not, right? It's different names on the top. I've been in that pool for 15 years now, and I've won it once.
Because I want to win. I don't care about the monetary fucking whatever it happens. I don't give a fuck. I want to say I won once. Before I leave this earth, which is hopefully another 30 years at least, I want to say I won a football pool. Just
That's
once.
Fair enough.
Not that I want that on my fucking headstone. Brent won a football pool. Yeah.
No, I have won that one. I've won a loser pool in another pool. I've won a baseball pool, the one you and I were in with like Kent Hare and Sudsy.
I think I won a loser pool once, but it had nothing to do with sports. It's a joke. Whatever. You missed it. Doesn't matter. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talk, on a whole lot more. Take care of each other. More important, take care of yourself. You're rock. You're sticking the ice. And what else, Dave?
Do not swing at high pitches, Jim. I hope your Christmas season goes well in Vancouver.
No, he's making his way out here.
I hope Christmas goes well.
Jim,
set a number up.
Jim will be here on the 22nd of December. Maybe christening the new shack there and have a good time. Christmas party, 23rd. What's going to go on there? But Jim's the actual producers makes his way out here, so it should be good to see Jim again. Maybe he can play his new song for us.
Well, yeah, and you can set up then if you don't fuck around, get it all set up. Maybe we can do a face-to-face all together. So
we'll talk off air, but yeah, there's some work to do. But yeah, there's been some discussions. Anyways, the 1420 Sports Bar Podcast, 4 Beer Sports Talking a whole lot more. Have a good night, folks. We'll talk again on Monday night for the 3Fs of the NFL, Week 14. Touchdown and whatever. And have a great weekend and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Enjoy the season. Play safe. Talk on Monday.
There we go. Cheers.